the combined group who've come together from the music room here into the long gallery. And particularly, I welcome the Right Honourable Dr. Vince Cable MP, the Secretary of State for Business Innovations and Skills and President of the Board of Trade. And from the CBBC's point of view, the good thing is we are starting and ending with the two key ministers with whom we do business. Our big contact, of course, is with UK Trade and Investment. That brings together the Foreign Office and BIS, and therefore, having heard from the Foreign Secretary this morning, we are delighted at this stage, at the end of our proceedings, that it can be rounded off by Dr. Vince Cable. He is a great supporter of all we do in China. He was a member of the Prime Minister's delegation in November 2010, and has his own plans to go out with a business group, hopefully towards the end of this year. And so we appreciate Mr. very much for the work that you do for us, both seeing people when they come to the United Kingdom, as on this occasion, and also what you do when you go on the trips to China. We would like you perhaps to tell us about your thoughts and plans for China and how you see the development of the business on the various ways, because we find that the China-Britain Business Council with UKTI will be doing most of the following up from this, as I mentioned earlier this morning. That is our job with our representations in China and in the United Kingdom. And to bring all that together, Secretary of State, we're delighted to have you here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your very warm welcome. But this is a special year for relations between the UK and China. Not only do we share the privilege of consecutive Olympic Games, but this is also the 40th anniversary of full diplomatic relations between the UK and the People's Republic of China. And over those years, the relationship has blossomed into a positive and fruitful one, and the participation of several of my ministerial colleagues, starting with the Foreign Secretary, underlines the importance that my government attaches to developing our trade and investment relations with China even further. I'd like to pay particular tribute to the Chinese Entrepreneurs Club, who I met a few moments ago on an informal basis. They've partnered with UKTI in hosting China Business Day, and I'd like to thank in particular the chairman, Mr. Liu, and his executive team for organising such a very high-level, eminent business delegation to come here. And the programme that they have followed this week is, I think, a very good illustration of the UK offer to Chinese companies, exploring sustainable development and innovation in Cambridge, tapping the international financial expertise of the financial centre in the city, discovering the latest in retail, fashion and sporting business trends, to sampling our advanced manufacturing, including, I believe, test driving Rolls-Royce cars at Goodwood. I always make sure when I'm on an industrial visit that I get an opportunity to drive fast cars. I had Aston Martin was my favourite outing. But I'd like to thank Sir David Brewer for his personal support and that of the China-Britain Business Council also. Putting this in a wider context, Britain has always been a trading country, and we are committed, our government, to openness in trade and investment at home and abroad. We value the growing volume of Chinese investment in the UK. China is now the third largest source of foreign investment projects, and I'm confident that this will increase further as Chinese enterprises go global. And specifically, I'd like to welcome the announcement this week of Sinopec and Talisman Energies, $1.5 billion investment in North Sea oil exploration, and the decision by Hutchison Whampoa to invest $1 billion in Wales and West Utilities. It's also good news that a high-tech Chinese company, Chengdu GR Technology, which is a set-top and cable infrastructure vendor, and TP-Link, the global market leader in networking products, are expanding their businesses in the UK. And in the creative sector, the fashion retailer Hi Panda is a very good example of an overseas company using the UK to move up the value chain and create an international brand. And all these deals, transactions, are a very clear vote of confidence in the UK as an attractive and open investment destination. And these specific developments are underpinned by the belief we have in government that free trade across frontiers benefits all countries. And for that reason, we reject the idea that you encounter in some places that the rise of China and other emerging economies is some kind of threat. We don't see it that way at all. China's now returning to the dominant position it had for many centuries in the world economy until the end of the 18th century. And in the last 3 decades, it's achieved a phenomenal amount in terms of economic and social development. And we celebrate their success. At the same time, we think it's in the interests of China to be open and follow international standards and to welcome UK companies and their know-how. I think we've already made tremendous progress. For example, in the UK higher education field, the providers who are now operating in China. However, I think there is a lot more that can be done in areas like intellectual property to mutual benefit. And this will help to deepen and broaden the relationship. And as China enters a new phase of economic development, we believe that UK commercial expertise can help meet the demands of Chinese own consumers and to work with Chinese companies as they move up their value chain. Put this in a context of numbers, the UK's exports of goods and services are on an upward trend, strongly upward trend, and last year rose to £12.5 billion, and that sounds a lot, but is actually only 1% of Chinese total imports. And this reflects the huge, as yet unmet potential for UK business. And the government's putting its weight behind UK business interests as they pursue high-value opportunities in China's 5-year plan. And we've identified specific opportunities in the fields of energy, such as civil nuclear, wind power, smart grid systems, sustainable urban development, healthcare, and transport infrastructure. Business can also count on the government to continue our dialogue with the Chinese authorities to strengthen and deepen what we call our partnership for growth. So to conclude, I hope today's events has helped you make new and lasting business connections, that our Chinese guests return home with a positive view of Britain as a creative and innovative country, a fertile source of products and services, technologies, and groundbreaking ideas. And I hope you will conclude that the UK is the best European location from which to develop an overseas business. So I'm confident that in future, many more British and Chinese companies will work more closely with us to realise new opportunities, not just in the UK or indeed in China, but in third country markets. And this is the agenda to which I'm personally committed and which I intend to pursue when I come back to China later this year. Thank you very much for your attention. Come down.